Gemma's Race is a 3D animated series, and it centers around a girl named Trina. She's in grade 5. She's had a rough day. She's on her way home from school after her teacher, Mr. Snubbly, shot down her proposal for her assignment to get involved in a wheelchair race that she saw the newspaper ad in the local newspaper. So she's very excited. She wants to save this local forest called Sonderman Old Growth Forest. Anyway, so she runs into an unlikely hero named Hank, who's a senior citizen, and there's a number of bullies that chase her into this forest. And this forest scene is a particular really beautiful scene as Hank leads her through the forest and shows her the various flora and fauna, including endangered species that make the forest their home. As they're walking through, there's some really powerful and engaging music that's playing from local Canadian bands, particular Christian bands. So there's an opportunity through this series to preach the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, to share important Bible verses and the wisdom of God that could really help to enrich and engage young minds and preteens. This series also provides a really rich narrative and an opportunity for seniors to have their voices heard. A lot of seniors are lonely and isolated, and we try and capture and express those issues in this series. All the seniors' rooms are custom made and designed to tailor the specific personality of the characters. This draft storyboard by Maroney Taylor, our senior storyboard artist who's worked for Blue Sky Studios, and he has worked on over 30 animated films and productions. It really reflects the joy and the humor as well, and the comedic moments in the seniors' home, and just how close the seniors are in terms of the friendships that they developed and how they support one another in this group and their common vision, their common goal to save the Sonderman Forest. Sonderman Valley Public School is the elementary school that Trina attends. It was built in 1968. It has a rich tradition of scholars, academics, professional sports heroes, scientists, and filmmakers. Enrollment has declined substantially in recent years because the school's gone through some hardship from due to COVID, and this is evident in the worn and broken tables and chairs and the dated textbooks. There's some comedic value to that because Mr. Snubbly, who's Trina's grade 5 teacher, he has to go to garage sales and special auctions to purchase really cheap furniture to replace the broken down tables. And so we try and provide some design variation in the classroom with a combination of some broken tables, chipped tables, tables that have graffiti and markers on it, as well as like chairs that are dilapidated, just to make it more fun and funny and innovative. Over the years, these tables have become like a time capsule of previous students who have attended Mrs. Nubbly's class and have written comments and drawn pictures and have captured some thoughts on the tables, on the desks. Mr. Stubbly's quite the character and very unique to say the least. So for many decades, he was aspired to be an inventor and a historian, and he's just obsessed with historical figures, composers, and as well as anthropologists and inventors from the 1950s all the way back to 1600s, including Leonardo da Vinci. So he's also obsessed with composers, artists, historians, just really any notable historical figures, and these figures adorn the walls of his classroom. So with the classroom props, we wanted to convey the teacher's love for the past and his love for historical figures through classical and retro design elements and dated furniture, broken and scuffed furniture, older wood that's stained and that has some scuff marks on it. So you can see these props evident in the classroom, such as a dusty globe, an old lamp, a 1990s PC, books from 1960s, so old dated books all the way to 2005, textbooks, a mug with a climate change denier logo on it, because he's very much of the mind that believes that climate change is just a hoax. The scale, design, and texture of his desk are meant to convey a sense of superiority and exclusivity. So the way that his desk is positioned, he doesn't want to engage with his students. He intentionally wants to tune out. He's a washed out, just really mean-spirited teacher, as evident in his name, Mr. Snubbly. And it's a play on words because smug is the root word of smugly. And so Mr. Snubbly, sorry, he's of that mind. He's just like, doesn't like coming to his job. He doesn't like engaging with the students, and he'll do anything he can to isolate himself from them. No classroom is complete without a 1990s style homework cabinet. The cabinet, it's to the untrained eye appears as just an old kind of style retro element, but if you look closely, this essential classroom item is really a mailroom showpiece. So it's purchased from a local garage sale, and it's from an old mailroom from a post office that closed. And with the budget cuts that the public school teachers have been going through, it forces them to be more innovative and use their meager budgets to purchase secondhand items for the classroom. That, of course, provides some great design choices and options for us in our production to make the props and in the classroom more innovative and more interesting. Snubbly's personalized stamps are of particular interest and a great design choice for the classroom, as he really loves to stamp kids' papers, and especially stamp an F or a low grade. He takes great joy in stamping these students' assignments and their tests very vigorously, just like a huge bang on the table every time that he when these stamps comes down on the students' pages. And there's comedic value in that as well. Students jump and sometimes they flinch and have various responses to this giant stamp. So Mr. Snubbly takes great pride in his stamps. Hank's electric wheelchair is very unique in that it's supercharged. It has some boosters that emerge from the rear of the wheelchair. It's a Liberty style, Liberty model wheelchair that's been customized, top of the line wheelchair. So he takes great pride in this, and Hank frequently takes excursions around town on his wheelchair, and occasionally through the municipal park lets those boosters blast, and it sends him wheeling through town at speeds of up to 80 or 100 kilometers an hour. So it's an 800 horsepower engine, complete with advanced hydraulics, chassis, suspension, and off-road tires. So, and did I mention that it's all-wheel drive? And that's important because he loves taking his scooter for drives through the Sonderman old-growth forest. And he actually helps to maintain that old-growth forest. The Meadows Seniors Home is home to a number of seniors who are living there, and they have become really good friends. There's particularly a group of 8 seniors. So there's Brian, Galloway, Ivan, Musa, Quigley, and a number of other seniors that have become good friends, including Hank. And together they plan the wheelchair race. in Sonderman. Trina is the protagonist of the story. This bright, creative, and intelligent 10-year-old girl is she's in Mr. Snubbly's grade 5 class at Sonderman Valley Public School. She's gone through a lot of trauma recently. So 2 years prior to the beginning of this series, her father passed away in a work-related accident. And 6 months prior to the start of the series, her grandfather passed away. She was very close, obviously, with her father and her grandpa. So there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of like sadness, depression that she's feeling right now. Her mom's doing her best to obviously support her. Her mom is a working mother, and she works as an interior designer and decorator in town and in Sonderman region. So Trina loves spending time at the park with her best friend Sawyer, and she loves animals. She loves spending time watching birds, drawing, as well as going places, visiting new places with her mom. I mentioned that her grandfather was really important, so that's an important narrative that's going to play out in the story. We went through several iterations of what Trina looks like, and we settled on this design in particular because it's a really great balance of form and color and complementary colors, as well as shape language is quite good. It translates really well in her silhouette. We went through a few designs of her hair, and we settled on this kind of like more natural flowing hair. And this kind of hints at her love of the outdoors, her love of adventure, and her kind-hearted, free-spirited nature. Hank is a leader of the seniors at the local seniors residence, The Meadow. He grew up in Sonderman, and he's one of the few residents who remembers what it was like to play and hike in Sonderman Old Growth Forest. He has a huge heart and even bigger passion for protecting the local old growth forest. Hank also was the pastor in town at the Sonderman church, and he recently retired 5 years prior to the beginning of this series. Hank becomes a really important mentor and grandfather figure to Trina, and she really is drawn to Hank. She comes to trust Hank, and so he leads the fight against the local developer named Grid, who wants to destroy Sonderman Old Growth Forest and convert it into homes. Mr. Snubbly, he's a highly misunderstood grade 5 teacher. He is Trina's teacher. He's tired and worn out. He's 58 years old. He's been teaching the same material for a long time. His fellow teachers and colleagues find him to be rude and smug and unapproachable and unlovable. The students, they hate him. They avoid him. And they recently signed a petition to have him fired. So Snubbly, he's bitter because he hasn't fulfilled his dream of being an inventor. His favorite classroom activity is to stamp poor grades onto his students' homework. Come alongside us and explore and support this exciting 3D animated series. You can check us out at our crowdfunder page. That's crowdfunder.com/Gentleman's Race Animation. You can also go to Instagram, instagram.com/Gentleman's Race Animation. On behalf of the Gentleman's Race Animation team, thank you for reviewing our pitch package and for all your support.